Most men can't stand being alone. They need chatter, laughter, noise to fill the silence, because silence scares them. It exposes the weakness they try to hide. But me, I learned long ago that solitude isn't a punishment, it's a weapon. I've walked through war, I've buried brothers, I've looked death in the face, and in that silence, I found strength no crowd could give me. That's the truth they forget. Solitude is not your enemy. It's the fire where discipline is tempered, where clarity is sharpened like a blade, where leaders are forged. While the crowd is submerged in distraction, I build. While they beg for applause, I traverse alone with no hand to hold. The solitary man is the most lethal man on earth. He doesn't waver when rooms empty out. He doesn't shatter when nights become burdened. He doesn't run after validation because he's learned how to stand without it. And you must know this. Blend into the crowd and you are nothing, ordinary, but step away from it, embrace silence, endure it, and you triumph where others fail. So pay attention. This lesson will not be repeated. Chapter 1. Loneliness is the price of power. All men want power, respect, influence, legacy, but few will pay the price, because power doesn't travel in smiles and applause, it travels in silence. The farther up the ladder you climb, the more alone you are. You can't take all your friends with you, you can't explain every move. If you do, you stay small. To lead the crowd, you must walk alone. Nights will come when no one will call, days when no one will stand by your side. The quiet is crushing on your chest. Most men break and run back into the ease of being part, but ease kills greatness. I've witnessed it my entire life. Men cling to other people for affirmation. They drink, joke, and waste hours with each other. But when choices have to be made, they stall, waiting to be validated. Power asks you to move without it. That freedom is purchased with loneliness. When I returned from France, medals pinned to my chest, ghosts that I was unable to bury. The world felt empty, but within the emptiness, I knew. Loneliness is training. It strips away weakness, informs you who you are when there is no applause, no hand to hold. Loneliness separates truth from fiction. Loneliness shows you who is genuine, and it shows you what you are. You cannot lead others until you've led yourself into the quiet. You can't demand respect until you've learned to stand without it. Loneliness is the price of power. Each empty evening is an investment. Each silence is a test. The man who survives becomes unreachable. Everyone imagines greatness, but won't give the price. The man who dares to endure solitude builds the empire. He becomes necessary. When silence comes, don't run away, don't cower, endure it, let it shape you, because silence is not your enemy. It is the fire where leaders are made. Chapter 2. The crowd is a trap. Most men believe safety is in numbers. They cling to the crowd because it feels secure. A man laughs, they laugh. He points, they follow. It feels safe. But safety is an illusion. The crowd doesn't protect you, it cages you. The crowd speaks, he listens. They move, he follows. Soon he becomes one of them. Ordinary, replaceable. That's the gamble. The mob takes your identity. The mob blinds your eyes. It gets you to forget your empire because you're so busy mimicking the rest. You don't rise in the crowd, you get lost. I have seen men squander their lives in bars, drowning in regrets, pursuing companionship so they won't have to confront their own minds. And when the years go by, it's too late. They were never constructed. They never ascended. But the man who stands back is rare. He's mocked, called arrogant. They shame him into the fold. Their taunts are proof he's coming apart. Rare men are feared because they will not conform. And no great empire was ever founded by the mob. The path to greatness is alone, away from the flock, in opposition to the din. Only then do you see the world clearly. Chapter 3. Solitude builds strength. Most men confuse comfort with strength. They think belonging makes them strong, but courage doesn't come from numbers, it comes from silence. Solitude is a furnace. When you're alone, you confront yourself. That's where clarity is born. That's where discipline takes root. When the distractions fade away, you face your greatest opponent, the man in the mirror. He knows your fears and doubts. There is no place to hide in solitude. You wrestle with him. If you win, you emerge unbeatable. In war, silence was deadly. Every breath could be the end of you. I trained in solitude. I became steel. I came home with that silence, using solitude as training. While others wasted nights in noise, I sculpted myself. That's why men fear solitude and why it takes maturity. It strips away softness. But if you live through, solitude tempers you into something the crowd can't match. Strength isn't built in a company, it's built in isolation. You grow by yourself, you become impenetrable by yourself. Chapter 4. Distance exposes truth. Move back away from the crowd and the truth is shown. You see who was loyal and who was there for convenience. When you stop answering every call, the truth shows. Friends who vanish were never friends. The family who mocks your silence never wanted you to rise. Distance is the filter. At first, it stings. Betrayal cuts deep, but then you understand they were never meant to stay. I've buried brothers, lost friends. My face turned cold when I stopped giving. And I learned this: distance doesn't make you weak, it makes you free. Fewer voices sharpen your own. Most drown in false company rather than face this truth. But the man who creates distance learns who is real. Most importantly, he learns who he is without masks shaping him. Distance isn't isolation, it's a revelation. Only when you embrace it can you lead. Chapter 5. Pain is the forge. Men fear pain as much as silence. They numb it with drink and distractions. But pain is not the enemy. Pain is the blacksmith. Walking alone will break you before it builds you. That's why most men run back to the crowd. But if you endure, pain doesn't consume you, it forges you. Every scar, betrayal, sleepless night becomes proof you're reshaped into steel. I've lost brothers, buried friends, carried ghosts. Each loss tore me apart, but each rebuilt me. Not fragile glass, but tempered steel. That steel gave me strength when others crumbled. Pain strips excuses. It leaves only discipline and clarity. Most men run back to comfort when life grows heavy, but the man who stands in fire walks out unbreakable. Every scar is proof the fire didn't burn you, it forged you. That's why I welcome pain, because a man who fears nothing cannot be controlled. Pain and solitude together make you unstoppable. Chapter 6. Independence commands respect. The world preys on men who need approval, offer them applause, and they bend, threaten them, and they break. That's why most men never hold power, they're chained to opinion. A man who needs nothing cannot be controlled. That is the law of power. When you master solitude, you stop being tempted by rewards. You stop fearing punishment. Comfort can't lure you. Loneliness can't scare you. That terrifies them. I've sat across from men of wealth and armies. They thought they could pull my strings, but I wasn't tied to anything they could offer. At that moment, they respected me. Independence commands respect, not because you demand it, but because it radiates from you. The man who can't be bribed, threatened, or swayed is untouchable. Independence is not comfort, it is proof you are beyond reach. Chapter 7. The Lone Wolf Code. The world glorifies the pack. Safety in numbers, they say, but the pack keeps you average, predictable, caged. The lone wolf doesn't howl for the pack. He hunts in silence. He takes what he wants. That is his code. The lone wolf is dangerous not because of allies, but because he doesn't need them. He moves unseen, strikes without permission. While the pack debates, he has already taken the kill. I live by this code. I don't wait for approval. I move when I choose, and that's why they fear me. The lone wolf thrives where others crumble. Most men need laughter and applause. The lone wolf finds strength in silence, power in independence, patience in solitude. Better to be a wolf with teeth than a sheep among shepherds. Chapter 8. Alone doesn't mean forever. Loneliness isn't a life sentence. It's a crucible, a test. Most mistake solitude for abandonment, but it's transformation. Walking alone doesn't mean you'll always be alone. It means you're strong enough to walk without a hand to hold. At first, solitude feels like punishment. The silence cuts deep. But in that stillness, transformation begins. Like a caterpillar in a cocoon, a man emerges sharper, stronger, freer. And here's the truth. When you master solitude, allies appear, not the ones who mocked your silence, but the rare few who respect it. They walk beside you, not because you need them, but because they recognize your power. Alone is the beginning, not the end. It builds you into someone worth following. Chapter 9. Legacy of the Lonely Road. Every empire begins with silence. One man daring to walk a road no one else will. The lonely road breaks you before it builds you. That's how legends start, not with cheers, but with silence. The lonely road is brutal. It takes your comforts, friends, sometimes family, but it shows you who you are when the crowd is gone, weak or unbreakable. Most men can't last. They run back to comfort, trading vision for approval. They vanish into the noise, forgotten. But the few who endure carve legacies. Their silent footsteps become the path others follow. Their names, once mocked, are later spoken with fear and awe. I've walked into rooms full of enemies alone, and they hesitated, because solitude makes you unpredictable. You don't follow rules, you don't beg for acceptance. You build power before the world notices. Legacy belongs to the man who endures the lonely road. And when the dust settles, they won't see just a man, they'll see a legend. So now you've heard it, the code, the price. Walking alone isn't easy. It will break you, test you, isolate you. That's why most run back to the crowd. They laugh, waste time, and fail together, and vanish together. But you are not most men. You've seen solitude is not weakness. It's power. It's the forge where steel is made. The lonely road transforms men into legends. One day, they'll see your success and pretend they always believed. But you'll know the truth. It wasn't destiny. It was a choice. So decide, act, build. By the time the world notices, it will be too late. You will already be untouchable. And when they speak your name, it won't be with laughter. It will be with respect, with awe, with fear. Because you will no longer just be a man, you will be a legend.